Okay, so here's the 5 things that you must do before hiring a fractional CMO, and this is to make sure you get the biggest return on your investment. By the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what a good fractional CMO does, how to find them, how to vet them, and exactly what your next steps should be after you hire them to ensure you get maximum results. Now, you might have reached this video because you've actually watched some of the other videos I've done before, and if you have watched them, I thank you. If you haven't watched any of those before, feel free to surf around my YouTube channel because there's a ton of amazing, great content that you can go through before you actually even review this video. Hiring a fractional CMO can be one of the most valuable things you can possibly do for your business. It just requires a framework like anything else to be successful, and today we're gonna walk you through that. Okay, before you think about hiring a fractional CMO, there's a couple of things that we need to do. Number one, you need to define the type of fractional CMO that you want to hire. We've talked about it in some of my previous videos. There's 3 types. There's consultative, there's managerial, and there's execution-based. A consultative type will just tell you what you need to do. They'll tell you your fixes. They'll tell you your problems. They'll tell you what you can do to grow over 30, 60, 90 days. The only challenge is you have to actually have people to execute those strategies. And so you have to make sure if you're going to hire a consultative fractional CMO that you've got this team and you've got the time to be able to implement those strategies, because if you don't, it's just gonna be a lot of great ideas that kind of fall to the wayside, and then you're actually gonna regret that decision. So if you're gonna hire consultative, make sure you're prepared, both yourself and your team, to be responsible and implement those things right away. The second type of fractional CMO is managerial. Now, managerial means that they're going to come into your team. You already have some type of marketing team and sales team in place, and you're going to take their strategy, you're going to agree on the plan, and then you're going to introduce them to your team, and they're going to oversee your team and make sure that those strategies are executed properly. Now, one of the things I always tell people is if you're going to bring a fractional CMO from a managerial perspective, you have to make sure that you get buy-in from your team. If you just spring it on them and you make it some big surprise, oftentimes you can unnerve your team and you can get a little bit of emotional pushback even if they don't tell you about it. So you have to make sure that you define the strategy with the fractional CMO, and then you have to have an independent meeting with your team, and you have to pitch it as something that's exciting, not negative, not somebody coming in to fix the problems that they potentially have created, but that you're ready to up-level your business and you're reinvesting into the business so that everybody has the opportunity to grow together. So you have vetted and hired this amazing new fractional CMO, and they're going to be joining your community, your team, your calls, your culture, and they're going to be outlining the strategy that you see as the vision of the company moving forward. The third type of fractional CMO is execution-based. This is actually my favorite. This is what we do at my agency, 7 Mile Media, is clients will come in and they will hire me as their fractional CMO. And that type of fractional CMO, who's somebody who comes in, creates the strategy, analyzes where the opportunities are, puts the plan together to put the fixes in place and increase the revenue, but then has a full team to execute on that strategy. Now, why it's my favorite is because obviously if you have a team that already understands your communication style, they understand your SOPs, they've already been trained to the level of confidence and competence that you expect, then oftentimes they can cut down the execution curve by a tremendous amount of time, and you can start to get those results within weeks instead of months. You just have to be ready to invest in that level of competence and commitment. The second thing that you have to do is you've got to interview and you've got to get proof. So once you've defined the type that you want, now you're on to the next step. So you start to interview different potential fractional CMOs for your business, and you got to remember that there's 2 things that you're specifically trying to uncover. Number one, do they have experience within the last couple years, not 5 years ago, not 10 years ago, within the last couple of years in your specific industry? It's not enough to have experience in marketing in general. That can get you to a certain level of success. It's more important that they have experience in your industry and they can show you some case studies, some testimonials, effectively some proof, even if they've got people they can introduce you to that are in a similar business as yours in the same industry that can rave about the results. You have to make sure that they have experience in your industry and they've got proof to back it up. Why? Because the marketing industry changes all the time, and there's always new strategies that are working and old strategies that, quite frankly, just don't work anymore. So you have to make sure that you have somebody that is active, they've been in the trenches, and they know exactly what's going to move the needle for your business right away. So the next thing you need to do is define a clear definition of success for you. What does it mean when you hire a fractional CMO to be successful? Well, I like to take a time frame, and the time frame for me is typically 90 days. That's enough time for somebody to come in, understand you, understand your business, make some fixes, start to implement some new things, have enough time for people to actually come into your world and become customers and start to analyze some data. And by the end of 90 days, you should absolutely be seeing results. But what is your definition of success? Is your definition of success, I want to see our sales increase by 5% or 10% or 15%. That's a clear definition of success. Maybe your definition of success is totally different. Maybe you're selling your business in the next 24 months and churn is a problem for your business. Maybe you're at a 5% churn and you need to be at a 3% churn to maximize your valuation. Well, that would be your first definition of success in 90 days. Maybe you want to market a new product. Maybe you have a completely new product that you want to bring to the marketplace and you want to create a product offer launch strategy and your goal is to sell 1,000 units. Well, that is a very definitive measure of success. We have a time frame, 90 days, 6 months, whatever that happens to be for you, and you're saying, I want to see this happen and I want to see this number. And it's really important that you always have a number because otherwise there's a lot of ambiguity, and at the end of it, you can't truly say, were we successful? And neither can the fractional CMO, and you both need to know that there's a clear definition of success and that you've both either reached it or you've both come up short, and there needs to be some new ideas to make sure that we actually hit it in the very near future. Now, if you've watched enough of my videos and you're just at the point where you're like, you know what, Aaron, I would just really like to talk to you. I'd love for you to do a deep dive on my business and tell me if there's something that you could do for me and my business immediately. There's actually a link below where you can book directly on my calendar. You can speak directly to me. It won't be one of my team, and we'll spend a little time going through your business and your definition of success, and we'll go from there. So if that's you, click that link below, and I can't wait to talk to you. All right, so number 4, we need to talk about what's going to happen when the fractional CMO comes on, because you need to really clearly set expectations with them. You've got to get buy-in from them. And again, you have to know what's going to happen in order for you to feel like it's a good investment. So we're going to break it into 2 sections, week 1 to week 3 and week 4 to week 12. All right, week 1, it's all about the audit. We want the fractional CMO to dig in, look at your traffic sources, look at your creatives, look at your customer journey, look at your messaging, look how your product is pitched, look how you show up online, effectively a complete audit. That's what's going to happen in the first week, and that really should be the objective that you set with your fractional CMO. The second week is all about fixes and optimizations. Once they've had the chance to review everything, their goal should be to come back with at least 3, but ideally 5, fixes and optimizations that you can put into place immediately and start to see that impact and that revenue lift on your business. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to try to get our investment back as soon as possible and potentially lots more. Okay, the 5th thing is a little bit more long-term. This is our week 4 to our week 12. So what we want to have happen after we've done the initial audit and the fixing and the optimization is we want to create a 90-day growth plan. So that growth plan could revolve around what you currently have and just scaling it up more, and what are the key variables that's going to allow that to happen. And quite frankly, in most businesses, that can be accomplished. We have clients spending $15,000 a day in one channel, like Meta, for example, and we still haven't completely capped out the scale that we could do in that one channel. So in a lot of cases, it can be done with what you're currently doing without having to add more things in. However, depending on your level of growth, you may actually have to start adding some new things in order to reach your goals. But that's something that should be clearly defined in that 90-day growth plan, which you will put together and then you will implement between effectively weeks 4 and weeks 8. The second part is where we kind of get into those weeks 6 to week 12. This is where we've had a chance to audit, to fix, to optimize, to create our 90-day growth plan. And we've had action happening for a considerable amount of time now. We should start to really be seeing traction. So at this point, it's really about what does our future look like? How fast could we grow? How fast should we grow? A lot of the times, this is the part where everybody gets really, really excited and they say, let's just put the hammer down. And I'll have to say to everybody, oh, hold up a little bit. We don't want to start a dumpster fire in the back end of our operations. You know, you show me a business that's grown at 300% a year for the last 3 years, and I'll show you a business that has some serious issues on the back end of their customer fulfillment, right? So a good fractional CMO can also rein you in when you're getting a little bit too excited. But this is the point where we start looking at new initiatives. As you've put these things in place over the first 90 days, there are going to be constant optimizations. In the last week alone, I could tell you 5 different clients where just one small tweak increased their conversions by 20%, 40%, 200%. This is an ongoing process that you have to review every single week. But at this juncture in time, it should be about, okay, how do we add new initiatives in? And new initiatives are really, really important. And I'll give you an example for this. We've had clients come to us and be doing $1 million a month in revenue, for example, and they have one channel. It's Meta. And they're trying to push further on that one channel. Now, this particular client that I'm actually referencing came to us 2 years ago. And the very first thing I said to him in this audit process that we went through is, once we get through those first 90 days in that plan, we need to add another channel. And I had suggested YouTube. And the reason why I suggested YouTube is when you have all of your eggs in one basket, it only takes one thing to go wrong and your entire business is finished. Now, we got to the end of the 90 days and we were doing so well that he decided he didn't want to add that extra channel in. Well, 6 months later, one of his team members accidentally clicked on a phishing link and it disabled his entire Meta ad account, and he had no revenue for 3 months. So there he went from $1 million a month in revenue and this huge overhead and this huge staff to instantly 0 sales, which almost bankrupted him. Now here's the part that'll actually really blow your mind. We got the account back and started scaling it again. And I said to him, okay, it must be very obvious I was right now. It's time to add in YouTube. And his answer was, I don't really feel like I want to. I think we're just gonna go do the same thing. And my mind was blown. The reality is at certain levels of growth, you have to diversify. You have to diversify the channels you're on for safety. You have to diversify the channels you're on because people live in different areas. Some people only watch TV, some people are radio-centric, some people love Google, some people love TikTok, some people love Meta, some people love email, some don't. So you have to have this holistic plan where you're constantly adding in new things. But even more than that, they can be fatigued on your 1 or 2 products. So you constantly have to be thinking about how are we going to serve our market better with a new angle or a new hook. So you'll need to be developing these new products or these new way of introducing these products to keep it fresh so you don't overly saturate your audience. That's what everything is about post your 90-day plan, is prioritizing what's next and really creating that roadmap for the next 12 months to ensure that you can maximize your revenue, your profit, and your total addressable market, and you're not focused on this little tiny piece. Now, a few years ago, we were actually forced to analyze all of our current clients in our agency. And the reason we had to do it is there was some economic downturn and half of our clients were starting to struggle and half of our clients didn't feel it at all. And we wondered what was the difference between the two. So what we did is we took all of our 8-figure clients and we analyzed all of the common variables that they had between them. And we broke them all down. Everything from how many funnels they had, how many products they had, how many channels they were on, what percentage of their total addressable market were they tapping, what type of PR did they have going on, affiliates, referrals, every single variable, and we broke it all down into what we call the 7-mile method, and we created this training and this checklist so that when we had new clients come on, we could look at their business, we could look at everything in the 7-mile method, and we could say, okay, here's what you have, here's what you don't have. What do we need to prioritize first to make your business bulletproof? Because the 8-figure businesses were pretty much indestructible, and the 7-figure businesses felt it because there was too many holes in the equation. So we've put together this entirely free resource for you. It's available at the link below. You can just click it and enter your email, and it'll be delivered to you immediately for free. And again, if you'd rather just speak to me directly, my calendar link is also underneath that link, and I'd be happy to speak to you. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I'll see you on the inside.